Brian, everybody. Today is the March 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Commission on Disability. It has been rescheduled from February 23. The snowstorm that we had, the town hall was closed on March 23. So we're going to begin our March 2nd, 2026 meeting. One person is participating remotely, and that is myself, Brian Gallagher, the chairman. Did everybody receive the minutes that I circulated back in February? I'm sorry, Dick, that you didn't get them until today, but did everybody else receive them?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody want to make any changes or additions?
No.
Right. And I have a motion to approve the minutes of our prior meeting.
Motion to approve?
I second.
And I will say that the minutes have been approved. Actually, what we need to do, since I have participated remotely, I need to ask everybody individually. I approve minutes. Martin Costa, do you approve minutes?
I do.
Steve Matriciano, do you approve minutes?
Yes.
We'll get it right.
Has Lisa arrived?
Yeah, oh yeah, she's right.
Yes.
Lisa, did you receive the minutes?
Yes, I did, sir.
Do you approve the minutes?
Absolutely.
And Dick, I'm sorry I didn't get them to you until today.
That's okay, but I will vote to approve in spite of that, which I
The
can,
minutes have been approved, so the next item on our agenda is the financial report. And Martin was gonna get the numbers for us, the amount of money in
Pass that down.
the
Pass that down. Should be one for you too. Okay, I've got a hard copy, Brian. I mailed you a hard copy, just so you'll have it in your little file there. And so we have the actual figures in front of us.
Okay.
It's, if I may jump in, I know you're a quote-unquote treasurer, but there's $22,942 as a balance, but it doesn't include the debit for $5,000 that we've given to the Recreation Department. So roughly, that leaves us with, and also minus, I forget the amount, was around $800 for the adaptive equipment?
Just shy of $800.
Yeah, let's say $800 just roughly. There's not on there either. So that'll be taken off, so that'll make $16,400 estimate. And I think that's where I think everything else has been taken care of. So that's about where we are, is $16,400, Brian.
Okay. And we have committed $5,000 to the Express landing. But as we've discussed, who knows when that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
landing.
Yeah, last time I talked to Jeff Pohl about this, which was a month or so ago, he wasn't sure when it was gonna be done. And I asked him if he needed our money right away. He said, no, not yet. So once I hear from him, I will let everybody know unless he comes to one of our meetings and tells us about it. So we have made that recommendation, but doesn't look like we'll have to spend the money anytime soon. We do have on today's agenda some other donations that we want to make. One is to the Habitat for Humanity for the ramp. And Martin, do you remember how much that amount was? Was it $5,000?
It was, or is.
Okay. Now, has everybody had a chance to take a look at the information and photographs relative to that potential donation?
I don't think Dick has. Let me pass it over to Dick. Hold on a minute. Oh, and by the way, Brian, I want to, Lisa was kind enough to show me the exact amount for the adaptive equipment that we voted to approve. It's $773.81. So What's not showing in debit is the 5,000 for the recreation department, 773.81 for the adaptive equipment, and then possibly now if we do, a vote on this, there'll be another 5,000. But hold on a minute. Dick, so this is,
I have it right there.
oh, you do, okay.
I have the picture.
This is from the Habitat for Humanity. We got a real nice letter from Fragile Footprints, which is a group that is suggesting very strongly that this 14-year-old boy in Westport, she gives a whole description of what some of his deficits are and why he needs the ramp. And they sent us I thought they sent us
Isn't this it?
yes, they sent us, no, that's for the AMVets. I don't think they sent a schematic. Oh, yeah, they did send a schematic. I remember saying, oh, that's a double ramp, or they mentioned it'll be a double ramp.
Correct.
It's not just once down, it'll be a Z. So, in other words, for why it costs so much money. And matter of fact, it was here it is. It was $9,000, and then they pleaded with the ramp company, and they got it down to $5,000. There's I'll pass it over to you, you can take a look at it. Give Dick a few minutes to take a look at that stuff and see if he agrees.
Okay?
If you want to go to another agenda, that's fine, we can come back to that, but yes, you're right, there will be that 5,000 if we approve it, I'm assuming we're going to.
And then we have also, Brian, the receipts that I needed to submit for all of the incidentals that we got, our shirts and different things like that. I've finally got those over to, I know the end of the year is coming up, so she was kind of doing some year-end stuff last month. And then, of course, with the storms and everything, so I told her not to worry, that I would submit those. So that will be submitted also, sir. And I can get you those exact numbers once I meet with Nicole.
Okay, great.
That shouldn't be too much, though, Brian, I think it'd be, we discussed that, Lisa, right, less than $1,000 or around 1,000?
No, I don't even think it's anywhere near.
Okay, so my point is, it's nothing major.
No.
Okay, so at least when you get those exact numbers, let me know.
Yes, sir.
The other item that we were going to talk about today was potential donation to Share. Now, Martin, did you hear from Jack Dresser whether or not the donation to Share would be used by a Westport resident?
Yeah, there is nobody currently in Westport that has a need from Share, so they're going to get in contact with us once a need comes up.
Okay.
Dick, I don't know if you know this, you know about the SHARE program that used to be out of UMass Dartmouth? It's
I'm vaguely familiar with it.
it's a group of engineers that started it, and basically they help, at the time, there wasn't that much adaptive equipment for handicapped folks. I know because a friend of mine, Scott Peckham, who was quadriplegic, had SHARE help come to the house. He had a mouthpiece, and he wanted to play keyboards with it and also use his computer and so forth, so they set up a whole system for him. It's no longer with UMass Dartmouth, but it's still the SHARE program. I forget exactly what the acronym stands
Yeah.
for, but
They're actually independent. They used to actually have an office there, which was obviously easy for people to go and, come and go. And now they structured themselves specifically with regards to technology, helping people with phones and iPads and different things. They did come and do a great presentation. Steve and I were there. Martin had eye surgery at the time. So we got a well-rounded presentation as to what they do. They do independently do their own fundraising, but they were asking for support as they do with local cities and towns. And I think Martin brought up a good point, making sure that between our chair and our vice chair and also the commission, that it go to a Westport resident. And I believe Martin had followed up on that, like he
I
said. And because they never had that request before, that they were opting to follow Martin's lead and wait for a Westport resident that's in need, so that we can be sure that the monies that are being donated are going to help someone.
because SHARE
Bristol County.
gives it to the entire Bristol County area, Christian, Dartmouth, and so forth, so I just think that's the way to go. So anyways, they will contact us once they have a Westport resident need, and then we can give them, they asked for $2,500. So right now, that's basically tabled.
Okay.
Okay, Brian.
The next item on the agenda is Kathleen Dufour, who we had previously talked about. She had expressed an interest in joining our commission, but then we recently received an email notification from her that she, for her own reasons, cannot join us, and so now we're down, we're still down somebody. It was too bad because I know personally I really liked her and the presentation she made, and I thought she was well qualified to join us. So now we have to find somebody else. So if anybody knows of someone who might be willing to join our commission, who has some relationship, either they themselves are disabled, or family member is disabled, or they have worked with the disabled members of their community, and they haven't joining us, we would love to talk to them. So if anybody knows somebody, please ask them to get in touch with us.
Okay.
We did previously talk to Eric Tobias, who himself is a quadriplegic, but he lives in Boston. He spends occasional weekends down here with his dad, but he is a Boston resident. I've spoken to Eric a couple, 3 weeks ago, and I expressed to him the fact that we really do want the person to be a Westport resident. He understands. So I will call him again and just to confirm for him that we're going to look for someone else, but we'll thank him for his interest. The next item on the agenda is the latest update on our marketing materials, our brochure, our shirts, our business cards, that sort of thing. So I will turn that over to Martin and Lisa.
Lisa, why don't you take it?
Oh, sure. So the latest update on the marketing materials, brochure, business cards, et cetera, and shirts. I want to thank Dick Brewer for joining our commission, and this past, actually, I believe it was last week, I reached out to him with regards to his size so we can get him on board with an official shirt. Moving forward, we've taken great pride and privilege, in using those marketing materials. Both Martin and myself have done volunteering, in the summer months and also in activities in and around Westport, and we found that other departments are using, like the recreation department has their own shirt, and other people do, I don't want to say advertise, but do bring it to the public's attention that we are out and about within the community. So we felt that that was a great resource to have, not only to introduce ourselves as being a part of the commission, but using those types of support clothing or banners that
Business
we have
cards,
and
yeah.
business cards and all of that, not only gives us a professional presentation in introducing ourselves, but when we're out in other people's communities, because we do work very closely and have visited with the New Bedford Commission on Disability, we're sharing ideas so that we're not reinventing the wheel, and we're finding out that maybe they were successful in an approach with some of their challenges in their cities and towns. And so they were so impressed when they saw us come all dressed up that they thought we were onto something, right, Martin?
You got it. No, it's very helpful. We did
Right.
that, the night out where the police department did it.
National.
National Night Out, thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
And we had well, we didn't have the business cards then, but we didn't have the shirts, and we just felt so out of place. So we're looking to do a lot, do the Harvest Festival, a few other events, and I think it's a good idea. So right now, what we're trying to do, what we did for example, that night out was we passed out flyers. Not crazy about flyers. I'd rather have a brochure, if anybody, because, we bump into people that always say, we don't even know that there was a Commission on Disability. So, it's great that we're doing this outreach now and that a lot of people are coming to us. So, this is just a mock-up. We want to do a trifold, Dick, just to get you up to speed. And I already sent Lisa some suggestions. She's going to put a template together and bring it at our next meeting.
Okay.
I think she's going to send it out to everybody, so everybody can take a look at it, and we can all
We can
agree on
alter
it.
If you think something should be reworded, or maybe from your point of view, Dick, maybe we forgot something that should be highlighted in the brochure. We have contact information now where, I believe, Brian, you made the decision that you and Martin, information would be out there, for people to
That's correct.
contact? Okay, perfect. And so with that being said, I'll get most of the, I tried to work on it today. We were gonna actually have another commissioner take a look at it, to give us his support, but unfortunately, he couldn't be with us today, Rick. So we're gonna do it for the next meeting, and then this way, if you have anything that you would want to add, obviously, we have to add you now, Mr. Brewer, on our website as being a commissioner, and your contact information, that kind of thing, moving forward. We also agreed with Brian's recommendation and Martin's recommendation to have a letterhead on behalf of the commission. So it will actually say Westport Commission on Disability, and it will also have our seal, so that if we have to send out a letter on behalf of the commission, because I know you wear several hats, and most of us do, we're supporting other organizations within our town, that you can actually send something out on the commission's letterhead. And then Martin and I had discussed, and I'm sure that he brought you up to speed, Brian, that we should have a protocol. Like, in other words, if you do want to send a letter out as a commissioner, you know, put the letter together and then send it to Martin and Brian, and they will kind of like sanction it, and then off it goes. And sometimes,
I'm sorry, may I interrupt for a second? Dick, this may be a good place for you to give us some of your suggestions. For example, there is a business in town, I won't name it right now, that is having, we had complaints
two businesses.
on service dogs. So Lisa and I were discussing that maybe the best thing would be to send a letter first. If we don't get a response, you know, and asking for a response back, would they take care of this and so forth, and if they don't, then make a personal visit, you know, in a nice way, and just
Yeah.
explain to them
Sure.
what we think they need according to the ADA and so forth. And then if that doesn't work, then you do a formal complaint through the federal government, you know, through Mr. Vitale.
Right.
Would you suggest that would be the way to deal with it? In other words, or should we just make a personal visit right off the bat?
Well, I like the idea of sending a letter first. It's always good, you know. Sometimes it does it, and sometimes it doesn't, but, and an offer to follow up with an in-person meeting is always good, as general practice on a lot of things.
I think too, and Martin and I. Everyone bow
Just so
their
everybody knows,
heads.
it's
feel
4
like-
o'clock, everybody.
Not yet, we're getting there. Oh, there we are.
There we go.
Okay.
We love Mrs. Gallagher's signs there. I feel sometimes like we're in church. Remember back in
Yeah,
the
well,
day when
gee.
we used to ring those bells?
You got it.
But I think having a letter, and Martin and I had a discussion, you know, about this, so we'd like to bring the discussion to the commission. Sometimes when you receive something like from the Commission on Disability and they get a lot of mail, sometimes they think, oh, this has nothing to do with me, and they throw it away. So my hope is that, and I don't know if we have to follow a protocol with this, when we do send a letter on behalf of the commission, I would like to send it in an envelope that says the town of Westport. Because most people will open up the letter if it says town of Westport to see,
Yep.
does this affect me? Is it something to do with taxes? It could, I mean, 100 things could run through their mind. But I think at least if they would read it, because we don't want to go in as a heavy or a policing kind of thing. We kind of want to introduce ourselves in a soft manner, and explain the do's and don'ts when it comes to doing business that's open to the public in the town, because there are responsibilities to do that based on handicap accessibility. And then, of course, having a working dog and what that requires. And they don't know what they don't know.
That's right.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
I mean, it is a confusing regulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people just don't understand, how do I let a dog in? Do they have to have documentation? I just went to I went to a restaurant in New Bedford, and they had the same thing on the door, saying you have to have the dog in a vest and you have to have documentation. That's not correct. You don't need either one of those things. So my point is, maybe we would have to make a presentation at some point if they don't know how to do it, or they can write to us and say, could you come down and help us with an example of what needs to be done?
And then, of course, moving forward, Martin and I were considering doing a type of presentation for the town. and inviting area businesses to come. Not like a town meeting, but kind of doing an informative thing, maybe at the new high school, and say we would like everyone to come, and we could go over, you know, the essential things that need to have compliance. And then if they have any questions or concerns, it's more of an invitation, kind of,
Yeah.
Sure.
let us help you familiarize yourself,
Yeah.
because our commission is getting more active, and we're getting more visible, obviously, with our marketing materials and business cards, and opening up how to get in touch with us directly and indirectly. And I really think that the town of Westport has always supported the Commission on Disability.
Yeah.
And now we're just making it a little bit more visible, if you will, with regards to people that not only are seniors that live in our town, but people who are obviously disabled. And there are some seniors that have balance issues and other issues, and might not necessarily be deemed by the state or government with regards to that as being disabled, but they still have those challenges. So that's why Martin is always mindful about the seniors in addition to people with disabilities.
Dick, do you think that we should, if we did a town of Westport on the envelope as a return address, we have to put Commission on Disability underneath it?
Well, I was going to suggest, why wouldn't you want to put Town of Westport Commission on Disability?
Yeah,
That would,
Both.
I think that would be better.
Okay.
but I think it's misleading just to put town of Westport, because
We didn't know what, I just figured if we had the town of Westport on there somehow, they're less apt to say, oh, Commission on Disability, oh, I'm not disabled, and they'll just toss it away.
But like you said, you know, like, we'll see what the envelopes look like in the town hall, and then just put it in a smaller type, Commission on Disability, so it doesn't,
Or we can-
you know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah,
when they first see it, it's gonna say town of Westport, and that'll get their attention.
Exactly.
Okay. Brian, what do you think of that?
Well, that's fine, and just so you know, we do have a letterhead already. It says Town of Westport Commission on Disability, and we have sent letters in the past. I sent one, or prepared one, about the American Legion Hall Handicap Accessible Ramp. I can send copies to everybody so you get a look at what it actually looks like.
I forgot about that. I forgot. I
Oh,
didn't think,
yeah,
I didn't think it was
absolutely.
formal, but he's
And
right.
I can send you mine too, the one that I designed, and if you want the old, I shouldn't say the old one, if you want the current one, most definitely, you saved me an extra step, and then I did a pre-template too, for everyone to see at the next meeting, so then this way, there's unification, you know what I mean, as far as, you know, the template goes, and then you can adapt it to whatever topics that you're writing to that particular individual. Because if you have the relationship with the individual you're sending the letter to, we wouldn't necessarily know what you talked about. You know what I mean? So, or what their concerns are about until you came back to a meeting. So it's just really a tool that we thought might be easier for people that, you know, might struggle with putting a letter together or might not, you know. We just figured a one-step easy kind of template moving forward. But everyone would have, obviously, Brian, you would have the final decision along with Martin, but I just figured it would be something beneficial for us to have and utilize.
Okay.
So shirts, obviously, we have one on the way for Dick. Business cards. Now that you guys have seen our business cards, you saw our business cards, right, Mr. Earl? Okay, I have one too.
You did, yeah.
Would you like to have business cards?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
So what I'm gonna ask that you guys do, and Brian, I already put yours together. I was just waiting for everyone else to kind of get on board here after they saw them. And then I'm gonna put the order in for everyone so that we all get them back in a timely manner. It usually takes only, I would say, not even a week or I think it's probably just about a week, the turnaround time to get them. And then, of course, keep in mind, guys, during the summertime or when we're having outdoor events, we do have a banner, and we also have a beautiful tablecloth that reflects, obviously, our town seal along with the Commission on Disability. So we have a navy blue tablecloth, which is beautiful, and it's all coincided with the color coordination that we have here. So we kind of matchy-matchy. So we'll probably get an award for the best dressed maybe this year. I don't know. But it's a pleasure not only putting that all together with the commission, but having the support of our leadership as well.
Thanks, Lisa, thank you for doing all that work. That's great. Okay, Brian, I think that covers the marketing materials for now.
Okay. Dick, have you had a chance to take a look at the information on the Habitat for Humanity ramp?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, does anybody have any questions that they would like to make about that potential donation?
The only thing that I would like to bring up before we vote and is that I had an opportunity to talk to the American Legion, and they mentioned to me, I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name, the gentleman that we went and did the,
What are you talking
when
about?
we helped the American Legion.
Oh, Mr. May.
Mr. May. I bumped into Mr. May at a select board meeting. He was gracious enough to share with me that if any veteran does need any type of accessibility, they do have monies that we could utilize or help with, with a particular Westport resident, and it would defray the cost or maybe defray the amount of money that would be requested. So let's just say they had an extra $200 or $500. I don't know what the money situations are. I just know that there are monies that are put aside for ramp or any type of accessibility for a veteran. So they would be more than happy to give us support with regards to that. That would lessen our, I don't want to say burden, but that would lessen the request on our end. So if it was $1,500, maybe they needed $2,000 and they could give us $500, then we would only be,
Right.
we'd come to the table with $1,500.
And
So-
in this particular instance, this is not a veteran, it's a 14-year-old teenager.
Right.
So let's work on this one right now, and we'll keep that in mind for, I think they're going to come toward us perhaps for the second ramp. They said there are 2 Westport residents who need ramps, but she didn't ask for money for the second one, but I have a feeling they might. They usually don't ask for money if they can get the ramps donated, you know, when they have Habitat for Humanity. And then they, once people don't need them anymore, and usually people need them a lifetime, they will take them back and then use them again. So that's why she's asking for money from Habitat for Humanity. So anyway, Brian, so this would be for the child, teenager.
Okay.
And we'll keep in mind, if a veteran is the next one, I can ask her if she comes forward and asks either me or the commission in general.
And as an aside, the letterhead letter that I look at was a letter we prepared and sent to Mr. May, just confirming that a proposed ramp met ADA requirements. And that was back in January of 2026, so it wasn't that long ago that we had spoken about that issue. So now we can, are we ready to vote on the $5,000 to Habitat for Humanity for this ramp?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Any other discussion, anybody?
Was that 5,000 or was it a different number? An even 5? Because I saw several numbers there. You had options.
Yeah, I think on the bottom, let me see, I thought, yeah, you're right, Dick. It started at 8,700, and they got it down to 7,004, and then it's 5,000, maybe to be, I'm sorry, Dick, it's 5,003. It's 5,300, but we could say 5,000. I'm sure they could come up with 300 on their own if you want to, but I suggest we do the entire 5,003 since we have the funds right now.
I only have one question. I believe somewhere on that, it stated that the estimate was only valid for 45 days.
Oh,
I just wanted to make
Good
sure that
point.
we were within that time frame.
good point. Yeah, please note, this quote is valid for 40 days from date received. It seems like their date is 1/23, so 2/23 is 30 days.
It's 45 days.
All right, okay. I
Just
wanted to
about.
make sure.
Well, even if the price changes, and I hate to think it would, we could donate 5,000 toward it. They'd have to come up with their own fundraising for the rest.
Okay.
So Brian, it's 5,003 as a total.
Okay. So we're gonna vote on $5,300 to get to Habitat for Humanity for the construction of a ramp for this individual. But since I am remote, we're gonna have to do it
Roll
by
call.
So I say aye. Martin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Lisa, how do you vote?
Aye.
Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Dick, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
All right, so it passes, so we're going to donate that $5,300. And Martin, if you would speak to the town accountant about that, I prepared the minutes. Then you can take the minutes to the town accountant to show that we've confirmed our desire to make this donation and see if she can get the money sent.
Yeah, one minor thing, Brian, is she prefers to have it by email, so I'll just email it to her once you send it to me.
Okay.
Secondly, I'll also write to, hold on, I forgot her name already. I think it's Sarah, from the Habitat for Humanity, and let her know that, we have approved the request.
Okay. That's great.
It is great.
May I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Of course.
On something like this, where do the funds come from? Do you have like a revolving account, or do you get money from the town in the budget, or the donations? What are the sources of funds that you have?
Brian, you want to answer that?
He's asking where we get our funds from?
Yeah, but every year, the town gives us, puts in our account $1,000. And then the rest of the money comes from parking fines, people who illegally park in handicapped spaces. That money, and once they pay the fine, comes, by state statute, that money comes to the Commission on Disability.
And to make it a little clearer, Brian, so that Dick knows, there are actually two accounts, Dick. There's a gift account for any donations that come in. For example,
As we all
the one
know,
from Lee's, the one that came in from.
Oh, okay, thank you.
The one that came from Lee's Supermarket, for example, goes into that gift account. And then anybody who makes a donation will also go into the gift account. But we always take it out of the
revolving.
one that has the most money in it, to be honest with you. So I don't know when we'll touch the gift account, or if it transfers over or what.
Yeah, I was just asking, because I,
In case you get asked.
as a selectman, we approve all gifts. I guess we have to, and oftentimes Council on Aging, veterans. I don't recall gifts to the Commission on Disability.
I thought maybe 2 years ago there was a donation
Yeah.
before I was, executive, before I was vice chair. I thought somebody in town might have given a gift, but generally there's not much activity there, so you're right, but there could have been one.
Well, years ago, there was a man in town
Here you go.
who would, every month, he would make a donation to the Commission on Disability because he had a family member who was disabled. And I think when a family member passed away, that those gifts stopped coming to us. And every year in the past, the town administrator would contact me just to make sure that our commission was going to accept the usual $1,000 a year allocation from the state budget, the town budget rather. And so that's where one of the accounts has at least $1,000 in it. The other one, which is the parking fine account, is the one that has most of the money in it.
Yeah, right now the gift one has 2,700 according to these figures, Brian. 2,700, okay? And then the one from the parking fines is that 22,000 I was mentioning to you.
Okay, well,
But I don't know, what the deal is on how we access that money, or when we access that money, for gifts, for example, or does it get transferred over when we get to a certain amount? I can ask Nicole about that if she remembers what we've done in the past. But anyways, we didn't really answer Dick's question, I guess. So Dick, that 325 that I got from Lee's, would that be considered a gift? It went into the gift account.
Sure.
Yeah. Does that have to be okayed by the select board?
I think it does, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if,
But do other places, I mean, I know that the Watershed Alliance and the Council,
on Aging
They go in front of the select board and say,
Well, they don't go in front of the select board, but they send a list. We send a
Oh,
list of donations that we get, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's actually recognized at the select board, so I think we could probably do the same thing, yes?
Yeah, I was, on a more global question, is do you promote contributions
no.
and ask people or suggest people? I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there who might be
I think we
willing
could do
to.
that.
Yeah.
You know, we could do
Well,
it.
we do ask people to turn in their receipts from leaves.
Yeah,
Uh,
we published that.
I think he's asking if we actively ask
Solicit.
for donations or sponsorships, you know, out in the community for people
We,
that.
we have not done that, no.
So I think what Dick is saying is that we could possibly do that. I know the Council on Aging does, and if we were to do that, then those would actually be recorded, and then you have to bring it to the select board for their acceptance. Is that
That's
what it
right,
is?
yeah.
That they accept the donations, whether it be $100 around Christmas time, or someone wants to do it in memory of someone who lived in town, or maybe just a family member of a resident who lives in town that might want to do something in someone's memory. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, that sounds a
to
good idea.
Maybe have a form that we could send to someone, you know, if they wanted to honor a loved one, and help pay it forward, or we could have a scholarship or something in.
That's your ballpark. You're good at scholarships,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you know, if we had someone who was disabled, you know, or a child, and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, they could get a scholarship from the Commission on Disability if we chose to do it that way, but I guess Dick's point is that any monies that we get as far as recruitment goes, or fundraise, we can't fundraise, we have to do sponsorships, correct? I don't think-
Donations.
Donations.
Donations, yeah,
Okay.
the ones we approve, just donations. They're-
But could we do fundraising if we wanted to fundraise? If we wanted to run a dinner? I'm just throwing it out there. Are we allowed to do that, do you know?
I don't know.
I think
Okay.
you can, I think the thing that stops us is the word fundraising, but we can do donations or
Oh, yeah, yeah,
sponsorships. I
yeah.
think that's the way it went. I know from my experience with Stroke Buddies, in order for me to get, like a bank to help us with a particular event that we're doing, I had to stress that it was sponsorship, not fundraising. Because the Friends of the COA has a fundraising arm, and they're allowed to do the fundraising. So I think that there are certain rules.
Well, the COA has the Friends, but people send money directly to the COA
Correct,
without the Friends.
correct.
And those are accepted, you know, they're,
Yeah. But I think it falls under donations as opposed to fundraising. So
yeah,
if we would have a dinner, would that be considered fundraising? I think it would.
I would think so.
I would think so. So I don't know if we can do that, or you can have a dinner and state that donations are welcome.
yeah. Well, but you accept donations,
Yes.
basically, yes. And so, see, once we start getting some donations, that gets on the list,
Yeah.
and the Council on Disability will be mentioned. So then, you know, people, word gets around, and people say, oh, I can do that. I don't know if, I mean, I might want to ask some friends, just said, do you know that you can do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've never pushed it, so I think it's a great idea. Why not?
Yeah, and I think also too, and this is just a side note, I know that when loved ones pass away, especially with my family members, knowing that we have a scholarship at the University of Massachusetts here in Dartmouth, people instead, in lieu of flowers, they'll say, you know, please donate to, you know, the University of Massachusetts, because there is a stipulation with my family foundation that it goes to a Bristol County kid. And so it's not like shared with like UMass Boston or Lowell, it stays right here in the community.
You know, I'm thinking that we did the River Day, and we're gonna do River Day again, and maybe the Harvest Festival. It wouldn't hurt to have a
Yeah.
donation
I think that would
box
be
or
great.
donations welcome. Somebody might write a check right there.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
We just have never done that, is what I'm saying.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think Dick's right, when they don't know you can do it, and you don't ask, there might be some people who say, you know what, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to,
My mother's had a stroke, or blah, blah, blah. You know, somebody in town feels that way.
Exactly.
Great idea.
What do you think, Brian?
Well, that's fine, if we could figure out a way to, make that happen and request donations, that would be great.
Okay.
I think between, Brian, doing so at different events, and also, I used to run an organization called the Spinal Cord Society, and we would do a letter at Christmas time, right? It's the time when people want to take a tax deduction donation from the donation, and also, it's a good time to hit people up. So we could send a letter out at that time to whomever we want to send, all the Westport residents, or just a general, information on shorelines, whatever. But those are two ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Or Marty, you can write another article for shorelines and at the bottom say
That's-
donations that are accepted.
That's true. On one of them, one of the last ones I wrote letter to the editors, was that when you asked me to write about the one that you had, Dick, that's, that showed the different accomplishments we've done. At the bottom there, I said, if anyone is interested in joining the commission, contact me. But, that's a good idea to always put that in any kind of writing.
Would you like me to work on a document for that, Brian? With
If
marketing?
Lisa, that'd be great, because I know you have a lot of free time.
Well, I'm doing it for other organizations, why not do it for ours, right?
Yeah.
There you
There
go.
you go. I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel, Brian, but I'll need your sanctions, because we have a famous Martin Costa here, so people always recognize him out
That's
in the
true.
community.
That's true.
They're gonna start asking for his autograph soon.
So, great.
Okay?
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is something that Lisa asked me to put on, a new and old business.
Correct. Does that mean I got the floor, or do you have something?
I don't see a new and old business on here.
It is too.
Where?
It says new business and old business. New.
Where? Oh, I got an old agenda. Okay, sorry. I got January 26th agenda in front of me.
So.
Go ahead.
This is, so because Mr. Brewer has actually joined us, and we're so happy to have him, I've started to watch more and more about what's happening on other commissions and other boards. And I really wanted to bring up for new business is tickets or fees or, there are other organizations within our community that are upping these fees, and I was so happy when you mentioned, did you happen to reach out to the Commission on Disability when they were considering increasing fees? And so I wanted to kind of have a discussion with all of us as to what is the protocol for that? And can we have a fee that's designated if you are going to increase fees for whatever reason, whether it be for a permit or whether it be for a violation in town? I know that there was talk about an overnight parking kind of ticket, if you will, or violation, that we have to consider people who are disabled live within a fixed income. And I know it was proposed, and I can't remember which one it was, a $200 violation.
The overnight fee
Yeah,
was recommended.
I know the police department was a little taken back with that amount. And then there was also a concern where they would increase fees with a blanket effect. And then, of course, that wasn't feasible because depending on what the violation is, there are different numbers, based on what the violation would be. But is there a way for the town of Westport to consider when they're increasing fees to have people who have disabilities that have either the placard or deemed disabled, that they could fall under that particular umbrella, if you will, and pay a fee?
We'll give an
accordingly?
example. Right now, all the money comes right from the handicap parking. If somebody parks there illegally, that money comes to us anyway. So what are you talking about? Like what particular fee?
So,
Where else would there be?
I think the fees came, do you remember what, because I believe you're a liaison on that particular board. Or,
What, the Landing Commission?
is it the Landing Commission?
Yeah, the Landing Commission recommended, brought to the attention of the Select Board recently, that people park overnight, and they're not people from around here generally.
Okay.
They're campers, we call them campers. And there's apparently somebody who parks down at Westport Point.
Okay.
And they park, and there is a policy, I guess it is, I don't know if it's a bylaw, that says you can't park overnight in public places here. And it's like a, I don't know, $25 fine, which is no deterrent.
Right,
So,
Probably cheaper to pay the fine. than
right,
it
and to
is
park on a campground.
yeah, so the chair, Mr. Bull,
Yeah.
Jeff Bull,
Yeah.
was just talking about it and doing some research on it, and we feel the need to increase that. I mean, it's, looking at other towns, they have that too. And that varies all over the place, of course, but, so it was specific to increase that fee to $200.
That's a deterrent.
And I think some people would like to do more, but I think somebody mentioned, another select board member, I think, said that, well, there might be a state statute that says you can't just raise fees willy-nilly.
Okay.
So there's some guidelines here, and Chris Vitale, the town administrator, is going to look into that for us. But, yeah, that came up recently. There were other things that came up too, of course. Obviously, the beach parking comes up.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So beach parking did go up, and I was a little upset about that.
Mm.
But I know that there are reasons for that to be increased. But again, when people who are disabled and they live within that very strict income, and they want to enjoy a beach, I'm looking into right now, like, in other words, if you go to Horseneck Beach and you have a DOR placard, you get into the Horseneck Beach for free. And it's a $10,
Entry fee?
entry, well, to get the placard.
placard's
and you
$10.
have that placard to go
Okay.
to any state facility for life. And then you park in the handicap parking space. And I think that that would be wonderful for people who are disabled here in town if we were to do something like that. Because, you know, some people might not have, that might, you know, a 50, I don't even know what it is now. Did it go up to 35 or
The beach
$45?
pass you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it went up to maybe, and don't
45.
quote me, and I apologize to the public. I believe it's over $35.
Well, there's a senior rate too, and that stayed the same. I think that's 35.
Okay.
And it went up to 50, I think.
I think she's talking about to have no senior rate.
No, I'm talking about have no disability rate. Like, if the person is actually disabled and they live
With the
within-
placard.
With the
With the
placard
placard.
If,
and
if
everything.
they can get that fee waived.
Right.
I think
Right.
that they should have that fee waived, because that could be $35. We don't even really know how many people that are disabled drive to the beach and want to have an ice cream cone or something at the end of Beach Avenue, which we love those handicap parking spaces
But that would be
there.
something we need to bring up to the beach committee, correct?
Well, I know that, I'm just using it as an example because I think it's important for us, being the Disabilities Commission, to be mindful that, you know, those extra monies, when they go up in a fee, even seniors too, I'm not determining.
No, I understand what you're
which
saying.
seniors,
I know,
but
the
that
COA
could-
can do that.
That could be a determination between buying, getting a prescription or enjoying something that, you know, they pay taxes to the town, and yet they can enjoy that activity and not have to pay more for it,
Well,
because it's not budgeted. for
yeah, the fee stuff, it's sort of like a Rubik's Cube. I mean, there's a lot of parts
that.
to
Yeah,
it.
there's a lot of moving
Yeah.
parts.
So I'm not sure what the issue is. I think you have to define the issue. Like, from what I'm hearing, you are concerned that people would not be able to park at Cherry and Webb Beach, for example? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
for
But
example.
there are handicap
There
parking.
are two
spaces.
spots there, yeah.
There's 2 spots there.
And very few handicapped people use it because you can't get, which is we're
dealing
working
with
on.
as far as accessibility goes. But what I'm saying is that when you have the DOR, that gives you a $10 membership, if you will, till the day you die, and it allows people with disabilities to go in without having to pay, and I know that Horseneck Beach is a lot of money to go in for a day pass. I think I'm not sure, but I know it's over $25 to go in there for a day.
Yeah,
And if you did get a seasonal pass, I believe it's close, over, if not close to $100 for the
Yeah, it's
season.
Something like that.
And the thing being is that for people who are disabled, if you get that Department of Recreation placard, you can go to Scusset Beach, you can go to any state facility, you can go to any state park.
I know, but in
No.
Westport, where are they going to go? What Dick is saying, that first of all, handicapped people rarely use the Cherry Web because you can't move.
Due to the accessibility.
Thank you for the word, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't access it. But they also can go down to the Nubble and park down there. You know, like, so what
So I think
area are
I'm
you
just-
saying that they don't have access to?
I think I'm not looking at accessibility as
Oh.
opposed to.
The financial
fees going
aspect.
up and not having people with disabilities or even seniors, but because we're on the Disabilities Commission, that's why I'm bringing it to our attention. Can there be a disabilities fee as opposed to just saying we're gonna jump from this to this? If we're at 35, go to 55. And, you know, is there a way for people to say, well, I am disabled, here's my placard, here's my license, you know? Can I get the disabilities discount, if you will? Is that a
So
possibility?
similar to how the seniors get the senior rate
Yeah.
versus, you know, residents, to essentially implement that
Correct.
for the disabled community with placards, or have the disabled community with placards have their entire parking pass fee waived. I think
Yeah, well,
that's,
isn't there, didn't you tell me there was a state
Yeah,
statute?
it's called the DOC. It's a yellow placard that you can actually put on your mirror, and it allows you into any state facility in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They don't pay an entrance fee, they don't pay parking or anything like that. It's $10, and you have it till the day you die.
So a person who's handicapped can go to Cherry and Webb with that placard?
To my knowledge, and I don't know this for fact, I'm researching it now, that if in fact you don't have a beach if you don't have a beach pass, that you wouldn't be allowed to go in and park in the handicap parking, which I don't believe is so. I believe if you have a handicap placard, you can park in the handicap spot, and you don't have to have a beach pass if they decide to walk in.
Well, have you ever discussed this as a committee with the
No.
beach committee?
We waited
No,
for you.
no, we haven't discussed
I
it.
mean,
We didn't know what the rules are, you know, from the select board standpoint, like, you know, are we within the right to ask for that? Is it, you know, I would like to see that, obviously, because I think if the state is doing it, saying, look, if you would like to pay $10 for a placard, and say we did it in town, and say the monies could come to the commission, or the monies could go to the beach committee, or whomever, as long as you have a Westport placard, you know, for beach access, it shows that they paid the $10, just like you would going to a state beach, and that's all they pay to utilize our town beaches, and not have to pay for an official pass where they probably won't be able to get onto the beach, you don't know what the disability is, or maybe they go at the end of the night, or, you know what I mean, like, they're not going out to sunbathe, but they want to enjoy, you know, the ocean view, if you will.
Well, is the question here that you would like a lower fee for people with disabilities, a
Yeah.
beach parking still? Let's say it's $35.
I would like to see no fee for people that are disabled, and
No
if
fee.
there is a fee, something significant. I should say,
substantial difference.
a substantial difference, or a nominal fee, like what the state does, a $10 for, you know, I think-
Permanency type thing.
Yeah,
Where
it's kind of like you pay the $10 and you utilize that. It goes to the individual, not to the vehicle. So as long as you have that in the vehicle, it allows the vehicle to pass with no fee.
Well, this would be a discussion with the beach committee, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Just say, hey, we, on behalf of
The
the
beach-
Commission on Disability,
Yeah.
we believe that people with handicaps should have a lower fee than what you're charging now.
Correct,
correct.
And it shouldn't be changed very often for obvious reasons.
exactly.
And, but don't you have to clear up whether or not the state, because if the person has a handicap designation on the vehicle, that they can park anywhere in the state, in any,
Not in a private, not in a town, in a state facility, but not a,
oh, on a,
They can-
not a muni-
Yeah,
not a
we can
municipality,
park in
yeah.
the state
Thing.
facility.
Okay.
But not-
I think
not the
there's
Cherry
like-
Web, no.
I think there's like 200 state beaches or state parks. They give you a whole list of where you can go in the Commonwealth, and you don't pay a fee as long as you have that placard.
okay, that's the state though, it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah, correct.
And then, exactly. So that stands in the Commonwealth. But when it comes to town beaches, I do believe, because I haven't found anything as of yet that says that if you want to use your placard, handicap parking gives you access to a handicap parking space, whether it's town or state.
With the handicap
With a
placard? Yeah.
handicap placard.
Right.
So if I took my truck into Cherry and Webb Beach.
You can park in
I
that
could park
spot,
in
but
that
you're supposed to
spot,
have, but you're supposed to
but
have a
they're
park.
saying that we need to have.
A
I
beach
need to
pass.
have a beach pass in order for me to go onto Cherry and Webb Beach. And I don't think, if you walked onto the beach, who is gonna tell you you can't be on the beach?
Well, the person who's responsible, the police officer, who's going to ticket somebody if you don't have a sticker on your car or
But
truck.
can you ticket my truck if it's parked in a handicap parking space?
Yes, right now you can. You're supposed to have a beach pass. Because I always got a beach pass. I'm
Well, I
handicapped.
don't know, is that the law?
Well, I don't know. You're asking me.
I know.
Well, I mean, I
That's actually a
think,
very
There's-
good
as far as I
question.
know,
That's a
there's-
very
I've
good
never
question,
thought of that
because
either.
if I wanted to park in New Bedford and I'm parked in a handicap parking space, I don't have to put money in the meter. And I'm not a New Bedford resident. So a handicap parking space is deemed for a handicapped person. It doesn't matter if it's state, town, or anything else.
but you're just saying, we require
That's what my.
That-
Westport permit
I don't know
for
any,
a handicapped
right.
person to park in that handicapped
And we don't
space.
know if that's a law or not.
The only two designations we have is regular a beach pass
Yes.
or a senior beach pass. So
Correct. And we don't have.
Yeah,
you still got to get a beach pass, whether I'm a senior and I'm disabled, I
Correct.
send for the senior beach pass.
But wouldn't
What
you?
we're just saying is, wouldn't it be nice to have it
Wouldn't
for
it
free?
be
I
nice to have a
understand.
disabilities,
Yeah.
a disabilities permit or
Yeah, but what Dick
something
is saying-
similar to what the DOC does?
Yeah, agreed, but bring it up to the beach committee. It's,
Well, I'm
you know.
just using them as, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
upset with the beach committee at all. I'm just saying that I just think that it should be considered. We weren't even aware that they were going to actually increase, the fees. It would have been nice if we were notified, you
Mm-hmm.
know, if they were gonna do that. Because we're working on accessibility with regards to that, you know, getting into that particular Cherry and Webb Beach. But I just think when people are increasing fees for violations in general, whether it be for permitting or anything else, or the beach, could we ask the select board to be considered, like, just to kind of keep us in the loop, or to be mindful that people with disabilities, or they have children with disabilities, or loved ones that live with them with disabilities, or the person that is the resident themselves here in Westport, you know, be taken into consideration with regards to that monetary value.
Right.
Because it can be, they have to make a decision, you know, can they not enjoy that particular activity, if it's an activity, or maybe not knowing that it's a violation, like you said, overnight, because I asked Martin, what happens if, you know, here I am disabled, and I had an episode, and I couldn't drive my truck home, and I called Martin, or I called you, Dick, or anyone, and said, I need someone to help get me home, I don't feel comfortable driving, and my vehicle was there overnight, I would get a ticket.
Yeah, but that's a particular situation. You go to the police department and say, I'm disabled, I had an episode, and I had to leave the car there. They will, well, either that or you go to court, and they'll dismiss it. I'm just saying, that's a once in a
It's a
blue,
once
you
in a
know.
blue, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
blue
you know,
it is
moon,
very-
But I'm just kind of bringing it to,
Yeah, well, I think the commission has to decide what it really wants here. So there's a lot going on here. If we're talking about Cherry and Webb and beach passes, there's a place to go to talk about that. That's the beach committee.
Yep.
On behalf of the handicapped citizens of Westport, they're required to get a permit to park there, even though they might have a handicap designation on their vehicle. Then why do you charge in the first place? I mean, it should be a good conversation about it.
Yes.
Why are we being charged in the first place?
right,
And give me the answer. And then, when you get the answer, and I'm sure you'll get a good, fair answer, then the question might be, well, we're willing that people would pay, but not the same level as the general public, a lesser amount. Or maybe you want to say, charge us no more than what you charge the seniors, just as a comparison. Or you don't think we should be charged at all. I mean, I don't know, I'm new here, so I don't know all the rules, but I think you just have to say, what's the issue, and then how to frame it, but it's got to be specific.
right.
This is confusing. I'm not sure what, it's got to be, here's what the rules are, here's what we do, and what would you like to change, and what's the reasonable request? You know, like anything else in life.
I think,
So
I think
essentially-
we just really wanted to bring it to the table, you know, to
Come
see
to an
what
outline.
everyone else thought of it, and then dig a little bit deeper into it, so that we do have the viable questions like you're bringing up right now, so that we are focused on one particular situation, if you will, and then go to that particular, board and
Lisa, we spent a lot of time on this. All we have to do is go to the beach committee and talk to them about handicap accessibility waivers. That's the only place we need to go, as far as I'm concerned. There's no other fees or other permits that we can say, give it to the handicap, give it to the Commission on Disability. So why are we spending all this time talking about this, when all we need to do is go to the beach committee and say, listen, we don't like the fact that we have to pay for a permit to park in the handicap spot. Can we get a waiver? Done.
Oh, you know, the town gives free parking permits on the beaches to the Poconoket Indian tribe, who came to the selectmen a number of years ago in citing federal
I didn't know that.
statutes regarding Native Americans. We agreed to give them a certain number of passes, I don't know, it was 3 or 4, whatever they needed, for their ceremonies that take place at the Nubble.
Sunset.
Is a spiritual reason for that. So we found our way clear to do that, and I think we still do that. But this is an example, we don't charge anything.
Wow.
And it,
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that either.
yeah, and it goes a step further, because, you know, the parking permits are affixed to the vehicle. The vehicle, you know, which is interesting, because anybody can go if they have my truck with this, with this permit on it.
Right. Just borrow your truck.
Yeah.
So that's an
And
interesting,
it's funny because when you get your disability placard, it's to the individual. That's why sometimes you'll see a white band across the handicap placard because it has our picture on it.
oh,
So if someone is using my vehicle, which my husband did one time, and he did, you know, he's always used to parking in the handicap parking space and then realized, oh my goodness, but if he happened to get stopped by a police officer, they ask them for the placard and it shows my picture to see if I'm actually in the vehicle. So it goes to the person. So if I was to be in your vehicle and we wanted to use the handicap placard, I have to take my placard and put it in your car, and that allows you to park in the parking space, knowing that I'm with you.
yeah, well, I'm just giving you an example of where we don't charge.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great.
And I think we gave a group called Gnome Surf that helps kids learn how to use surfboards who are
Yeah, I saw
handicapped.
that.
They're over on Adamsville Road. They came to us once, a few years back, and wanted some beach passes, and we made that available to them. So this precedent here,
There is a possibility to make this actually
oh, yeah,
happen.
it wouldn't be the first time.
Well, thank you.
The Poconoket, by the way, the people who are requesting these parking passes were not from Westport.
Oh,
Wow.
But they made a good case.
yeah.
It was reasonable, and we said, yeah, I guess it's worked okay. I don't recall what,
I appreciate that. And like I said, I talked to her about it with Martin, and I just really wanted to bring it to the commission so everyone can hear it and get your response.
Okay, Brian.
Okay. I'm hoping that you're keeping an eye on the clock, Mark.
I am, of course. 10 minutes.
Okay.
I want to
Anybody else?
cover a couple of things quickly. One thing, I think we passed it out already. Brian, just as far as the service dogs, there is on, believe it or not, on Amazon, sells almost like a business card that you can fold over and has all the regulations handy that we can pass out. I bought a packet of them. They were like, $5 that you can pass out to business owners. So it's something I'm just passing out to the folks here, the commissioners here, that, you know how the business is only allowed to ask 2 questions and of somebody with a service dog. And those 2 questions are designated right here on this kind of business card, plastic poster. It's really small. It's the size of a business card. You can fold it over. But anyway, I wanted to bring that and just pass it around to show folks we can talk about that. at our next meeting, because there's quite a bit, to talk about as far as what are the regulations and how we should approach the different businesses in town that we're getting complaints on this.
Was this you received an email about,
Yes.
it's tomorrow, right? Regarding companion dogs?
I'm sorry?
Didn't we receive an email about, I'll call it a webinar on,
Oh, yeah, yes.
Yeah.
which is, it's tomorrow, right?
There's one on the,
Good.
tomorrow, on the 3rd.
1 PM, yeah. tomorrow.
Good question, I don't have it handy with me.
Yes.
I wrote it on my calendar at home, so, yeah, it's like different ADA, different disability commissions around the state.
Yeah.
Will hold, actually around the country, will hold them, and sometimes we'll invite everybody. And I thought that was a good one
Yeah.
to find out
Well, I'm
about
gonna try to do
the
that.
regulations on
think
service
I can-
dogs.
Yeah.
Especially currently.
Did you get that, too?
Yeah, I did, I
Yeah.
received it.
Yeah, and I think it's good too, because not only is it, I mean, it's at your convenience, you know what I mean? And then there are a lot of classes, like we do a lot with regards to historical buildings and different things like that. Did you have to have a prerequisite to get in on that class? I don't believe so.
No,
There are some that we'll send out periodically, because Martin and I have been doing it like the last year, so that we can just stay up on the basic, they have basic courses that you have, and then you can start to incorporate and build your foundation, and it actually makes sense moving forward.
we're speaking about the Massachusetts Office of Disability will send out an email and say,
Okay.
we're going to be having a
Webinar.
webinar, well, actually, it's actually a class on how to measure ramps and, how to help people out with those kind of things. And it goes for 2 days, usually goes from like 10 o'clock till 3, and they give you a certificate after it, so it's pretty nice to do. If you get time to do it, it's good. There's a lot of different educational webinars and classes like that MOD and different disability commissions throughout the state.
And it will help too, because right now, we're the only ones that go out, so once you get on board with all of that, then, when we get more requests, like we had with the American Legion.
Right. That came in handy.
I might not be available, or Martin might not be, then we would have you guys, jump in and say, hey, we got 4 people that are certified, they're available. And we help each other out, because there are certain things that we're not familiar with, and we can all work together as a team.
Lastly, Brian, I wanted to bring up, this is kind of interesting. There is an organization, I don't think anybody here on the commission knows about it. I'll be surprised if Dick does, but it's the 911 department in
so
the
excited
state.
about
I actually have my mom is alive, she's 97, as you know, and she's got a sight problem. And I thought I called the commission on the blind commission on blind, what is it, for the blind? And they sent a person down who I thought was from the Commission of Blind, and the guy says, no, I work for the state. He works for the 911 department.
911
Division, and he said that anybody who is disabled, not just the blind, can get a free phone, and he's talking about an iPhone.
It could be an iPhone, it can be an Android, just like you would go and pay, what, $1,200?
I just bought this phone here cost me $1,200. I couldn't believe it when he told me that. And I said, are you telling me that he says, next time you're ready to renew your phone,
Yeah.
contact us, you fill out an application, and as long as you have a disability, he says, this comes from a fee that's on their phone bill. And he said, if you look at it, it says 911/disability fee, it's like $1.25 or something every month. And that money goes toward that. So not only that, they have also the caption phones, any kind of phone. So I was surprised. So I just wanted to, and also, by the way, they'll come down and do a presentation for us, which I think will be a good idea, because for all different types of disabilities, they have all kinds of telephones and assistance on any type of thing like that. So anyway,
So Martin could have saved Brian $1,200.
so I'm very disappointed that I didn't save $1,200 on an iPhone when I found out there's a lot of these programs around. Like when I first got injured, there was the PCA program, right? To have somebody come in to your home and help you, and it wasn't the state that told me about it or anybody in the hospital, a social worker. It was a friend of mine who was disabled, and he said, you should go to get on the PCA program. So there's a lot of these kind of quiet programs that you have to dig around for to find out about, and this is one of them. So maybe we'll have them come in sometime, Brian, and do a presentation on what the 911 department in the state has to offer. Brian was...
That'd be a great idea.
And the other thing, Brian, I want to bring up is that you were very kind to announce that the state also has that housing construction for disabled people, that if you want to make your bathroom or put a ramp in, they will give you up to $50,000. It's income low-income requirement, but the income is like $60,000, $70,000 a person. It was crazy. So anyway, I had my bathroom redone just recently. It was wonderful. And you're in charge of it. You have to hire the contractor. The state okays you with all your income and so forth and so on. And then you tell them which contractor you have, and they just send out the checks as the job gets done. Then they send somebody down to check on it to make sure you did it properly. And it was beautiful. It's a great program, Brian. And you brought that up to me, and I wasn't even aware of it. So my point is, there's a lot of good programs like that we have to stay aware of.
Yeah, we do. And we have to make sure that anybody who's watching this program is aware of it too.
Absolutely. Okay, Brian, that's it for me. I don't know if anybody else has any new business or other business.
Okay, anybody else? All right, so
What-
our next meeting is March 23 of 2026 at 3:45. I'd like to keep our meetings in the select board meeting room if we can.
I agree.
So I will probably schedule it to there. So, now it's time to adjourn. There's a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
I second that.
Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? I have to do this by voice. I'm in favor. Martin, are you in favor?
Yes.
Lisa, are you in favor of adjourning?
Yes.
Steve, do you want to go home? Do you want to adjourn?
Yes.
Steve,
Steve wants to stay.
How about you, Dick? Do you want to go home too?
Yes, and I vote aye to the motion to adjourn.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned.
great.
Thank you.
Next meeting. Thank you, Brian.